Yo, welcome back to J-Will Trap TV. Happy New Year, guys. We are back watching BMF Season 2. Guys, I'm so excited. We're doing BMF Season 2, Episode 1. This episode is called Family Dinner. Let's jump right into it. Let's go. So we start this episode off with a flash forward to 2005, and we got Terry. He's a little worried. He's on the phone talking to someone. Sounds like he's trying to get out the country. He's saying that Meech got picked up, and he's really concerned. Terry sits down with some associates and he says this might be the last dinner they ever have, and he talks about how important family is. He says forever 263, and right as they start to eat dinner, the cops come in and shut everything down. You see Detective Bryant come in, who's accompanied by a very colorful partner, played by Leslie Jones. We pretty much see that this is Terry's future arrest. Terry says that they got Meech first and he thought he was smarter, but in the end, they both met the same fate. So now we go back to Las Vegas in the 1980s, and we got Meech. Meech is getting packed up with drugs under his shirt, getting them taped to his body. He's talking to a guy named Earl, and Earl's informing him about the big players attending the Las Vegas fight. Meech isn't really interested in meeting any of the big players and seeing all the activities going on in Las Vegas, but Earl compels him and lets him know that this is really important to his rise as a kingpin. As they walk through the lobby of one of the hotels, Earl points out all the big players who have come to Las Vegas. He basically says that during some of the bigger fights, the biggest drug lords and the biggest players in the game, they come here and they congregate and they flash and they show off all of their money. Meech learns that this can be an opportunity to learn and meet more people and create new business opportunities. After Meech learns a little bit about the Vegas hustle, Earl lets him know that if he's ever in Atlanta, to hit him up. And as you guys have seen, it looks like we're gonna be expanding this season, so hopefully if Meech makes it to Atlanta, he will hit up Earl and hopefully expand out there. We end this scene and now we got Meech moving his weight, and he's going with the weight. He looks like he's going to the airport. He's going up the escalator. As soon as he gets up the escalator, he sees that there's some cops with some drug dogs, and we hear in the monologue that things have changed and cops have gotten more sophisticated. Meech decides to head down the escalator, which is pretty suspicious in my view. If I was the cop, I would have definitely taken my dog over to Meech and, had him take a sniff of that backpack. We now see Meech hop on a Greyhound, and this is how he's gonna get back to Detroit. So now we switch to Terry, and Terry, this is younger Terry, of course. He's over here, he's taking a driving test, and he's with his friend Roland. They're joking around and they're chatting, and eventually the exam instructor has enough, and he takes Terry's exam and he grades it as is. So we're not sure if Terry passes the exam, but it seems like he may pass the exam. We now switch to a scene with Mr. and Mrs. Flannery. They're over eating breakfast. We start the scene off with Lucille. She's looking at another couple who looks to be of a similar age as them, and they're having a good time and seem to be connecting well. She focuses back on her husband, Charles, who's eating a donut, and it seems like he didn't offer her any of the second donut, and he says that she never ate any, but she says that, well, you should have at least asked. So it looks like they're still having some marriage issues starting off. Lucille is really stressed, and she asks about the bills. She talks about the bills, she talks about the kids and some of their needs. And Charles isn't really interested in talking about that, and he asked her if there's anything else that she wants to talk about. She doesn't have anything else to talk about, so they decide to leave. We now switch to the police, and they're having a little community meeting. They're sitting in a little classroom, and they're talking about all the stuff that's going on. The first thing they talk about is the war with the 50 boys and the 12th Street guys, right? So that, if you remember last season, the 50 boys were going after Lamar's crew, the 12th Street boys, and they were pretty much beefing the entire season. They talk about some of the murders in the season finale. If you guys remember, Kato, remember when she got shot by B. Mickey? That was crazy. I can't believe she got killed right there. I thought maybe she was gonna make it out. I was hoping she would. I thought she was cute, but didn't make it. It sounds like Detective Bryant has like a matching shoe print, and he has like a link to something, the matching shoe print in her house, and he's hoping that he might be able to, case closed, he can probably get the murderer. We also get introduced to Detective Veronica Jin, who, seems like a pretty straight arrow. She makes a comment and says that it's a BS, that there was no witnesses, that these these two people were murdered. Lamar and Kato were murdered out in public, and no one came forward and said anything. As the meeting ends, the commander says that Bryant is going to be partnering up with Detective Jin. And this kind of makes Bryant upset because, he's dirty. So he walks up with the commander and says, I don't really want to babysit her. I'm busy on this case, et cetera, et cetera. And the commander lets him know that, no, you are going to be her partner. This is going to be good for you. And we're going to need you to play ball or sit on the bench. So now we switch to a basketball game, and we're focusing on Terry. And we see Lala's character, Markeisha, come in, And, she's looking pretty good. She walks by, and Terry, he's immediately attracted. She comes in, she sits down, she starts sucking on a lollipop, and I just start thinking, oh my God, I hope Carmelo Anthony does not watch BMF, because Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Anyway, so now we kind of switch to Meech's perspective, and he's here with B. Mickey, and B. Mickey and Meech are watching Terry stargaze over at Markeisha, and they let us know that she's still married to Boom, who is someone to respect, it sounds like, because he's saying that, Terry ain't gonna do nothing, that it would be a mistake for Terry to try to mess with this woman. He lets us know that he's really here to meet with a new possible connect, K9. And K9, he's over here coaching one of the teams that are playing in this game. So this is the setup. So it looks like K9's team wins. The game was over. We're walking out. We see Terry walking out with his buddy Roland, and he's also talking to this chick who he says knows her way around cars, and he's talking about his business. So from here, we learn that Terry is working on his car business with his dad. And as he walks down the steps, he sees Meech, tries to say hello to Meech, and Meech makes it clear that they are not speaking. So once it gets blown off by Meech, we switch perspectives again, and now we're rolling with Meech. Meech says, forget about Terry. He wants to meet with K9 so he can get his drug connect thing going back on. So he goes up to K9, and as we're walking up to K9's having a dispute with the other coach from the other team. It looks like the coach made a $20,000 bet with K9 that he would win, but the coach says that K9 paid the refs off to make calls in his favor. So he says get out of his face and that he's not going to pay the $20K up. So really quickly, this dude K9 turns around, pulls a strap out, shoots this dude right in the head, right outside the school where this guy was just coaching a basketball game. So this guy definitely is not someone, this guy is definitely not afraid to pop off if need be. So in all the chaos, he gets in his car and he tells Meech to get in the car. So Meech gets in the car, and then we just see Terry all looking on to this whole thing while everyone splits up. So crazy scene, dude gets killed, Meech goes with this guy. Terry's just kind of looking on. Crazy, out in the middle of daylight, right after a basketball game. Detroit. So now we go to the Flannery family home. We're here, it looks like Wanda's here, has come back with little Terry. If you remember last season, she took off, got upset with Terry, and she took off, took the baby, and disappeared. So now she's back. Terry comes right in, and he's happy to see her and the child. And Terry's dad, Charles, he asks Terry if he passed his driving test. Terry says yes. Again, I don't know if he really did. It seemed like he did not, but sounds like maybe he did. So Dad is excited that he passed the test, so now they can drive the cars and do the car business thing. Terry catches up with his kid, and Wanda tries to help Terry, but Terry's like, nope, you've had the kid long enough. I'm gonna take care of my kid. So, okay, cool. Terry's all about taking care of his kid. We now switch to Bryant and his new partner, Veronica Jen. They're driving, and they're going, she's talking about Detroit and the old Detroit and how she misses it, how it used to be safer, and how she used to be able to ride her bike throughout town. And they start trading some jokes and barbs between each other. Brian sees B. Mickey walking down the street, and he gets kind of quiet, and Veronica Jen kind of catches on to it and asks why he got all quiet and what's wrong, and Brian doesn't really give her any details. We switch to a restaurant, kind of club style place, where we see K9 meeting with a bunch of different folks. It looks like he's meeting with a guy named Cena, and he is really kind of pissed off and mean to this guy. He tells him to get the hell out of his face and that he doesn't like him and he doesn't, like his Colombian accent, etc. So once that guy leaves, he calls Meech over to sit down and he starts talking about his deal. Meech delivers the way from Las Vegas and starts talking to K9 about being his new connect. K9 is resistant to working with Meech, and Big L walks in at the same time. Big L looks at Meech, and she pretty much says that she worked with Meech and she didn't really like working with him. When she leaves, K9 asks Meech why would he work with him if she didn't want to work with him, and he says that she didn't like him because he was too flashy. K9 gets ready to leave, and he tells Meech that he may or may not call him. So in this scene, this fool K9, he's pretty much being the power player that he is. He's not really giving Meech much room, and he's really trying to see why he should work with Meech in the first place. What's so special about Meech? We then switch to Mr. and Mrs. Flannery sleeping. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and Mr. Flannery is trying to get frisky. Charles is feeling up on her shoulders, and he's kind of letting her know that he wants to get some. She's like, look, we're going to work in 3 hours. I'm not really interested in doing this right now. I'll get you another time. It seems like things are pretty much kind of breaking down, and Charles is kind of laying there looking upset, mad that he didn't get done. But listen, bro, it is 3 o'clock in the morning. Come on, like, why didn't you, hit her up, maybe wash some dishes, clean up a little bit, then hit her up right before, she go to sleep. You got 3 o'clock in the morning is a weird time, my friend. So now we switch to Detective Brad's house, and this is kind of weird because, we didn't really do this in the first season, but he has a son named Kevin, and this guy, he seems to be a little talented. He's making breakfast, he's eating some Pop-Tarts, and Detective Brad wants him to eat some oatmeal. Kevin shows Detective Brad his comic book drawings that he's making, and he also has a shirt with the superhero on it that he made. And this is in the 1980s, guys. Detective Bryan says that he shouldn't really hide behind superheroes and that he's the toughest dude in the city and that he has really tough blood and he has to depend on that blood and that if he, uses his brain and his smarts, he won't have to worry about those bullies. It turns into a good scene, but I thought he was a little rough with, his approach. I thought the guys, maybe I'm a nerd, but I thought the guy's little comic book thing was kind of cool and him just kind of, writing it off as like hiding behind superheroes was a little messed up. So now we move over to the 50 boys over at the Wolf Record Shop. They're over there, the guys there in there chilling, listening to music, having a good time. And then some of the 12th Street boys walk in. Words are said, between the two crews, and then eventually a fight starts, right? So there's a fight starts, the big guy jumps on a little guy, throw a fight and rolling around. Then Meech comes in, and it's kind of crazy. Meech has so much control of the situation. He tells both of these fools to stop tripping, stop fighting, and he says that he was the one who told the 12 boys to come over. Meech tells the 12 boys that Lamar is dead, and for that reason, they should pretty much team up. The 12 boys tell Meech that he doesn't have a connect yet, he doesn't have any drugs, and that he's pretty much wasting his time. But they leave it open, saying once, if Meech can get these things, they will be open to doing this. B-Mick complains to Meech that Meech didn't tell him that this was happening, the 12 boys were coming over. Meech says they gotta keep things tight because they're going after K9. So when Meech says this, I'm not sure if he says they're going after K9 as if they're like, because he's the biggest fish and they're gonna knock him off and become the bigger fishes, or if they're just trying to, get his favor to get, so he can be the connect. We didn't see Meech stopping by his mom's job at Wendy's. His mom tells Meech that Terry got his license and that they're having a special dinner at the house on Sunday. Meech says that his dad won't want him there, and he tries to give their mom some money, but his mom says she really wants him to come there, doesn't take the money, but gives him some food, and Meech drives off. So now we switch to Terry going to the FBI. He's going there to get some insurance papers set up for his business. As he comes in, there's one clerk that's available, and she calls him and says, "Hey, I'm ready." Well, he ignores her and then goes straight over to Markeisha. He tries to flirt with Markeisha, and she pretty much resists. He does get her to call him Terry. He does then try to get her to go further and call him T. She says, "No, I'll call you your government name, Terry." So now we switch to Terry with his girlfriend, Wanda, right after he was with, Markeisha. And he's still thinking about her, but they were, having sex, sleeping together, which was, cool always. She asks if he's happy, and he says that he is, and she says that she's proud of him, for leaving the game, and that she's back in the house with the kid. Terry's happy too, but he's concerned that Meech isn't talking to him. Wanda has some big plans. She wants to start a college fund for little Terry, and she also wants them to get their own place and all move in together. This kind of throws Terry for a loop. He said, wait, hold on, slow down. You just move back in here, chill out. We're gonna take things slow. We're gonna start from the beginning. And then they just start having sex again. So now we switch back to Detective Brian and Detective Jen. They're driving around, and Detective Brian touches her little Buddha charm on the car that she just put up. She kind of freaks out a little bit and starts telling him about the Buddha culture, and they go back and forth, start having some of that police banter. But then they see 2 of the 50 boys. They stop the car. Detective Brian gets out. He gives chase. He chases B. Mickey. B. Mickey runs for it, and he's able to lose him. The other guy, Dink, he thinks that he gets away too, but then we find out he gets hit by Detective Veronica Jen. She hits him pretty hard, knocks his teeth out. They get a bag of money, and they take him in. We now switch back to Terry. He's making another attempt at hollering at Markeisha. He brings in a bouquet of orchids, and it looks like she had an orchid that was dying. He spits his game at her, but then she lets him know that, hey, I'm married. He respects this. He takes the orchid and he leaves. We now see Meech meeting up with B-Mick. B-Mickey lets him know that, hey, Dink got smashed and they took all this cash. Meech isn't really too concerned. He's letting him know he's gonna meet with K9 and he's gonna start this new connect. He starts talking about how K9 said that relationships are important. So Meech is gonna show K9 that he's indispensable to him. Meech goes to meet with K9, and K9, he's watching basketball. So it looks like K9 is always betting on basketball games and the like. He starts telling Meech about his business, about how he owns a few houses in a few different places. Meech says that if K9 works with him, he'll be able to buy a house in any state that he wants to buy a house in, that they'll make a lot of money together. Meech also learns that K9 already knew that Meech was gonna be late because there would be police at the airport and that he would have to take the bus instead. Meech says that he wants 10 keys. K9 says that Meech should take 20. Meech says that he's fine, he's ready to take them now. K9 says, all right, let's go. He gets up and he calls his crew together. He says that he has gifts for all of them. He gives some of them watches, and he gives Meech a special gift. The box is different, and it looks like it is Big L's mouth. He says that he took care of her because she was running his mouth about Meech. I'm not sure if it was about Meech, but it sounds like maybe she was snitching, maybe not. But anyway, so Big L was killed by K9, and K9 lets Meech know that, hey, if you're ever late with my money, I will kill you, your brother, and your other associates. This guy, K9, really serious guy you don't really want to fuck around with, not afraid to kill you, not gonna reason with you, it's just gonna kill you. So the next scene we see Meech catch a ride in Terry's car business. Terry's driving. Meech informs Terry about his new Connect situation, says that they do business really well together, that he should get out of this, that he isn't really making any money, and that he should join him doing this. Terry says no, that the guy they're working with, killed someone over our basketball game, that he doesn't want to get involved, that he wants to stay out and stay the straight way, do his business. Meech continues to kind of, berate him, throw some money at him and says, you haven't made any money, and he hops at the car. So now we come back to the Flannery household with Mrs. Mabel as a guest. Nicole comes in, and at first she gets scolded for having lip gloss on. She starts talking back and saying that mom should be worried about Meech, and she gets slapped in the face. It's kind of crazy because if you look at this scene, the actor that plays Nicole has gotten a lot bigger over the last year, and she looks almost like she's 13 or 15 or 14 or 16, I don't know. But she's a lot bigger than what she was last season. The family's getting ready for dinner, and mom asks for them to get ready for Meech to come. Dad's kind of looking on the side, and he doesn't look very happy, but after Nicole gets slapped, he tells her to go upstairs and do what her mom says. We now switch to the cops at the hospital. The cops, at first, Veronica Jen says, I hope that we're not gonna go see the guy that I hit in the car. And Detective Bryant lets her know that he did cover for her, that he did say that she did not, intentionally run him over, that he kind of ran into her. So he's already kind of, trying to work with her a little bit. And then he brings her in and he shows her, takes her into a room where we find out that Lamar, the leader of the 12 Boys, is not dead, and they are hiding him under a different name, and they're hoping that he will come back from life support and tell them who shot him. We switch back to the Flannery family, and they get ready to start to eat and say grace. It looks like Meech is not gonna make it. He still has not arrived, and I was hoping that he would, have an 11th hour walk through the door, but he does not walk through that door. We see Terry give Wanda the flower that he was gonna give to Marquisha, which was pretty, kind of slick. Not like, slick as in, don't do that, slick. That's fucked up. That's a young nigga, young amateur move. Don't do that to your women. Don't give one thing to one woman and try to give it to someone else if they don't want it, right? Anyway, Charles points out that Meech isn't there. Terry says grace, and he's complimented on the family by how far he's come, and they're pretty much just happy that he's out the game and he's, being a family man. We cut to the wolf shop, and now we kind of see what the episode's saying. So, episode is called Family Dinner. We just seen that family dinner, but now we see Meech having his family dinner. He got this boy's lobster. They're eating seafood, and he's pretty much saying, hey, 50 Boys is dead. 12 Boys are dead. Going forward from now, we're gonna be BMF, which is Black Mafia Family. We're gonna make more money. We're gonna have our own women, and we're gonna expand. We're gonna go to different cities. We're all gonna have our different crews. We're gonna be bigger, larger than ever. And right there, we have our crew. BMF is born. Back at the Flannery house, we have Lucille and we have Wanda. They're washing dishes, and they're talking about the whole Terry situation with how she left, and that got him to leave the game. So Terry overhears this and he gets upset. He feels like they're trying to control him. Dad comes down. He says, no, Terry, we just didn't want you to be like your brother, and we didn't want you messing up your life. And this kind of pisses off Terry because he doesn't know who he can trust, and he leaves the house. We go back to Meech, and he's meeting with B. Mickey, and he's letting him know, hey, you're gonna be my right-hand man. Terry's not here. I'm gonna need someone, strong. I'm gonna need you to be more involved. I'm gonna give you different things to do. And B. Mick doesn't look too excited. And Meech asks why, and B. Mick says, makes some stuff up about his mom, and says that, his mom's going through some stuff, et cetera, et cetera. Meech says that he's gonna be there for his mom, and that his mom is his mom now, and whatever, he needs, let him know. But we really know that B. Mickey's having some trouble because these police are chasing him. If you remember last season, he was snitching, he was telling them, giving them information, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe that's why B. Mickey isn't so excited about taking a more responsibility in the organization. So now we get this, so now we switch and we get this monologue from, Big Terry, and Terry's telling us that, hey, you know, everybody's a lone wolf. You know, Terry's over here being a lone wolf. Meech is over here being a lone wolf, but now B. Mickey's a lone wolf too. And then we come in on B. Mickey's house, and Detective Brian, he's in here waiting on B. Mickey, and he tells him, yo, hey, he tells him that he wants Meech. That is who he wants. He doesn't care about Kato. He doesn't care about any of these other people. That he has that gun so he can connect them to 2 murders from J-Mo and Kato. And he says that, yo, I'm gonna need more information. And this is all crazy because B. Mick tries to say that, oh, well, Meech, you know, Meech is running stuff by himself and Terry's out, but that's not enough for Brian. Brian says that he wants more and he'll be back for more and then he better have more next time he comes. So it looks like the episode's over, but then nope. Oh, we switch, go to the hospital, and it looks like Lamar is waking up. He is alive, and you know this dude is gonna want revenge. This dude is crazy. You guys know how Lamar is. You guys have seen season 1. So I'm excited to see, you know, is he gonna come in? Is he gonna interrupt this thing going on with the 50 boys and the 12 boys coming together? He's still pretty hurt. I don't imagine he'll be up on his feet too soon. I imagine maybe halfway through the season he'll be up and he'll be doing things, you know, from a quiet, you know, kind of sniper perspective. So I'm really interested, guys. And you know, guys, you know, thanks guys for coming back and watching. You know, it's a new year. It's been a while since I made a video, but now you know that we got BMF. You know, it's pretty trappy. You know, when I come out for that trappy stuff, I sound really terrible today. I got my wisdom teeth taken out, so I'm making this video and it hurts to talk and I sound crazy. But thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for watching the videos. I will talk some more about what I think is going on with this whole season in the trailer video I will be posting very soon. Okay, guys. Make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe, and put a notification bell so you know when I go live or make a new video. All right, guys. Peace.